switching gears a little bit. Nvidia reported last week. That was the news of the last week, and their stock has gone down ever since. And
Well, it settled, and then it opened and it tanked a little bit, and then it closed. There was like a miraculous rally at the end of Friday, and it got back up to 126, and then today, yeah, roller coaster ride again.
so we're seeing the whole chip sector, Nvidia
Fall apart.
hovering around 116. We see SMH down. The TSM is down 20. TSM is actually in bear territory. It's down 20%. MU, all of these things are down.
Broadcom, yep.
So, and as the broader stock market has continued to go down, the broader NASDAQ has gone down as well. So Nvidia is pretty much
Nvidia negative year to date.
Yeah, like 11%.
Yeah,
it's been free falling for a while now. So where are we at with Nvidia?
You should listen when I tell you some shit gonna fall apart. Shout out to Stock Club. If you want to know what the price is, what to get in, go to ianinvest.com. Most people in Stock Club know the real price. I see it's getting below 105. You might want to look to invest there, but okay. Public service announcement: the chip trade is over. It's done. It's a good investment. I'm gonna be real.
Okay.
It's a great investment long term, but for everyone who missed out on the last 2 years, you're not going to get 700% return off of this trade anymore. And there's a lot of geopolitical concern about if they're smuggling chips into China. We have to have a real conversation while he's focusing on tariffs that don't matter. We have a war, a technological war going on with China that we could lose. You've seen Chinese stocks starting to take off, and hedge funds are rotating to potentially get in the bubble.
Well, that's why I don't think the chip trade is done.
It's only going to be a few players. Nvidia is one of the ones who are going to do well.
So they're going to be players.
They're going to be good.
So I won't go that far. I don't think it's done. I think what we're seeing, obviously, we talked about how the Fed has an impact on
for sure
the market. There was supposed to be 2 rate cuts. Now there might be 1. The lingering tariffs on these countries is weighing on the economy. Like if we go to like that weighs on the economy. DeepSeek still had an impact, even when we were talking about the AI conversation at Carnegie Hall backstage with some of the leading people in AI. We can say it had an impact. But it was
a real threat.
But it was overblown.
Yeah, it was overblown.
It was overblown.
But it was a Trojan horse. The real concern is all of China teaming up together at the right time to thwart how well we're doing.
And here's what I'm thinking, and it hit me the other night when we talked about all these CEOs going to the White House to speak, and we were like, Zuckerberg was there, right? And he was there. Everybody was there, and then Jensen went. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why are these guys going? Why are these guys going? At some point, do you think they discussed tariffs to China? Because
what you have to,
right? This is probably like one of the prime conversations that they're having. When I looked at the ecosystem of Nvidia prior to the Biden administration putting a ban on advanced chips going to China, that was 20% of their business.
That's a huge part of the business.
So now think about it. That's over the past 3 years. Nvidia has had this run without that China component in it. Can you imagine what that looks like when you get some of that business back? Even if it's not the Rubin, even if it's not Blackwell. We still trying to figure out how the Hopper got in there. 200,000 of them allegedly. We don't know how they got in there.
French Montana,
right?
Straight off the boat.
we got to figure that part out. But I know he's saying 10%, and then he's adding another 10%. But at a certain point, the president is a businessman. And he has to know if he has these tariffs in place. Yes, you're trying to make a stand, but you're hurting Americans' greatest companies. Apple's going to be affected. Nvidia is going to be affected. Microsoft, and we've seen it. We've seen them pull back. They're going to be affected. So I don't think the chip trade is done. I think we got to figure this out, right? Like I think the tariffs go into effect tomorrow for Mexico and Canada. And I think the China ones start this week as well.
Why are we selling our greatest technology to China? Unless we know the game's over anyway. That's the point we have to talk about. If you want to ship Blackwell and our best chips to China, it's 1 or 2 scenarios. either Jensen doesn't care about America, which isn't true for the record,
Mhm.
or a lot of people on the inside know that the America trade is over and we got to find a way to get every dollar we can, hence a $5 million citizen card. This is real
global business
war,
right?
And this BRICS trade is heating up. That's why Zelensky got so much heat. There's a lot of like the DeepSeek thing, like you said, was overblown. I think the concern is if that big seven in China, can they beat our big seven? And right now it's looking like yes.
So that would be the thing. Where would be the spend if it's not coming from American business? That you'd have, like China would be that place, right? You're not looking at India just yet.
Not yet.
EU, not really. Africa's doesn't have the infrastructure. So you kind of are looking at that space, right? If we look at where all those Mag 7s are spending, right? We had that chart. I think you posted it.
Yeah.
Where their CapEx is going. I mean, there's a clear sign that is pointing to this company.
Yep.
That goes by the name of Nvidia. I think Microsoft was over 20 billion last quarter.
Yeah, insane.
Like everybody is coming. So I don't think that trade is over. Yes, there's been some pullback, but it's one of these things. When you talk about growth over a quarter of 79%.
And that's not good.
Well, I think the trade is like as far as
the entire semi space.
Right.
But they lead that. So if they go, then
you have to look at it from this standpoint. Like, okay, Nvidia's down 25% from its high. Right. Do you think in 4 years it'll be higher than it is today? Yes.
100%.
Right. Then that would be a good investment. Now, do you think in 6 months, we don't know what's going to happen in 6 months, 3 months. So if you're trading it, you have to be careful because long-term projections are positive. You would have to think that if you invest now, it's a good investment
for sure,
because that's going to double at some point.